Big Blue Thumb presents the Podlie Podcast. Here's your hosts, Podlie Bill, Podlie Cliff, and Podlie Paul. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Podlie Podcast. And I made an error. It's actually episode 102. I called it episode 103 for some reason. I was getting ahead of myself by one episode. Hello there, Laura. Laura's in first tonight, so gains the prize, 2,500. William Seltzer's right underneath that. Jeremy's in early. Wow. You're here really early tonight, Jeremy. Usually you join us partway through the podcast. Jeremy says, I was just thinking about how gratifying it is to watch you. Here you are, instantly as it were. Yeah, very quick. Hello there, Donna. Donna's with us as well. So, Cliff, Paul, how are you tonight?
Good, gents. How are you?
I'm doing good. Paul looks like he's mesmerized.
No, I'm trying to figure out this. No, I'm trying to figure out this group here. So I'm here. I'm alive. Hey, dudes, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
No,
Dudes and
talk
dudettes.
amongst yourselves, will you?
Dudes and dudettes. Well, how was your week there, Cliff?
Not bad. Not bad. Same old, same old. Yeah, chugging along as they say. Pretty standard fare.
Standard fare. And Paul's busy still doing his group, so
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. Hey, you know what? This weekend I wasn't feeling great. I don't know why. Stomach was not good, but I'm much better today. I think you know what I think. I think I overdid it last week. I think I was so busy last week, you guys. Holy cow! And it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's tis the season, man. It was busy.
'Tis the season to be busy.
Oh,
Yeah.
just Christmas stuff then, Paul?
I think so. You know what, Cliff? I think so. I think there's so much going on, brother. There's so much going on with work, and there's just family stuff and getting everything organized. I had my boys' violin recital last week and hockey, and I think it just got the best of me this last weekend. But good to go. You know how it is.
Hello there, Marvin.
And Bill, how was the week?
Again, kind of like Paul and you, Cliff. Same old. Just get very, very busy, and we finished. Sean and I finished getting our rink put together outside. So,
did you? Cool.
Nice.
So Thursday we'll put on our next liner, and hopefully Friday will be flooding. So by the weekend, give it another 2-3 days after that, and our rink should be just about ready for some outdoor skating. Hopefully,
It's a very rare occasion would you hear the words, hopefully it'll be flooding. as a phrase, right? You just seldom ever hear things like that.
Statement in BC.
There you go.
No. This is flooding an ice rink, not flooding anything else.
That's right.
So it'd be good. Jeremy says, Cliff, it's absolutely crazy how good that drink combo is: vodka, soda, and lime. So I'm assuming that's what you have again.
Yeah, that's it really is. And Jeremy actually had some pineapple flavored soda. I think we brought over, didn't we, Jeremy?
Oh,
And pineapple flavored soda with vodka and lime. I mean, it's just the cat's meow, man. That's a good drink. It really is.
that sounds tasty.
Yeah, and I mean, it's no calories, right? Because there's no carbohydrates in it. So yeah,
Wow.
it's all good.
Okay. So it's a diet drink.
I guess, yeah.
It's
Well, then it must be good.
If you want to lose weight, drink that drink.
That's right.
Wow. Good evening to William James Kirkland as well.
I'm back. All right.
You're back and ready to go.
I'll figure that out later.
So this week, this topic didn't so much come from me, other than I was listening to the radio. I think it was driving home from work. I can't remember if it was. Anyway, caught this on the radio, and so it kind of sparked an idea, thinking, hey, that's maybe something we should chat about, and whether it lasts the whole show or not. But the topic on the radio station was, again, instant gratification. So they were saying, so what if, like, today I walked up to one of you guys and said, here, I'm going to give you $100 cash right now. And then as you're going to go hand that $100 cash to you, you say, oh, no, hold on. If you wait 2 weeks, I'm going to give you $300 cash. Would you take the $100 cash like right now because you want it, or you need that money? Or would you be, patient enough to wait for the 2 weeks and take the $300 cash 2 weeks from today. So then I started looking at how things are today as compared to what they used to be. And it just seems like, our world is so much wanting it now. It's not so much waiting. You can wait a week or 2 weeks. You either want it. It's like, I need it yesterday kind of thing. There's no more, like what happened to the patience of waiting for something? Now, obviously technology's had a hand in that, but where did it all go? Where did the days go when you'd say, "Oh yeah, I can wait. I know it's coming in 2 weeks. I can wait, and I can handle it then." Instead of saying, "I can't wait for 2 weeks. I need it now, or I need it tomorrow." So it's that whole instant gratification thing, which seems to have, over the past few years, has just gotten more and more and more a thing with people. Maybe it's with the younger generation. I don't know. They want everything now. They don't want to wait for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever the case might be. So I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on that.
I think instant gratification gets worse, ergo it gets, more instant, with a higher standard of living, quite frankly. Back in the day, I remember when I was a kid, man. When I was a kid, I got 50 cents allowance every week, and I'll be damned if I got it early, because they just didn't have it. They just didn't have it. But quite frankly, now it's like, okay, well, you know what? You can have it a couple days early, no problem, no big deal. And you know what? As a parent, I'm the same way, man. I'm like, okay, yeah, you don't have to wait till the end of the weekend or Friday. You can have it now. I think that's what it is, quite frankly. I think it has to do with standard of living.
Yeah, and Cliff, thoughts?
I don't know. I'd wait. I personally would wait, even though I'm generally impatient. I don't know standard of living. It's funny if you go back into the annals of history. When the microwave came out, people talked about how instant gratification is a thing now, and how we want our food in 2 minutes instead of 40 minutes, and so on and so forth. There was even some songs about it. Jeremy would probably remember. I used to play some song. Oh no, it's probably way before that time. But anyway, there was even songs about it. About instant breakfast and instant oatmeal and all these instant things. I mean, back in the 60s. I mean, let's face it.
Coffee.
The instant
minute
coffee. The 60s minute rice. minute rice, right? And Uncle Ben's perverted rice. Yeah. All of those were instant things. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe it started in the 60s. The 60s was the first ever me generation. It was all about the me in the 60s, and I think they started it. Maybe it started then. I don't know.
Yeah, and it could have very well been. And you're right, Cliff. It started to become a time when
Sorry. Read what Leslie says.
I'd wait, but I keep you under.
Leslie says, I'd wait, but I'd keep you under surveillance, Bill.
I'm turning my camera off.
That's awesome. Leslie, 1,000 points. That's awesome right there.
Yeah, but you're right, Cliff. I think in the 60s they started to come up with all these instant things because it was to make it easier for the family as well, right? So you get home from a tough day at work, and the wife, whatever, has to go in the kitchen and whip up dinner. So instant this or instant rice, or instant that, right?
What was the first of your quote unquote conveniences when you guys were kids that came into your home? Do you guys remember that? Because I specifically remember it was a microwave for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as a family, like my parents, they were all over it, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I would have classed that as. Maybe something like a microwave as well. That probably would have been a big thing. Because you're right, because then it all of a sudden, you had that ability to do something up really quick for lunch or whatever, right?
Yep.
Leslie Ann says TV remote control. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one as well.
100%. 100%. Yeah,
that's a really good one as well.
Yeah. I didn't even have instant TV. I had to turn it on, let it warm up. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah, having to get up and change the channel.
And Marvin's got a point. Cigarettes killed the pipe due to instant gratification. 100%. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
kid,
Even though I would somewhat disagree, Marvin, because all my uncles were pipe smokers, and that's even into the 70s.
yeah,
And they were always, you go over and most of my uncles would always have a pipe going.
yeah.
Um, so
I smoked a pipe for a little while when I was young because I thought it was all cool.
Cool.
Didn't last long.
no,
Because my dad smoked a pipe every now and then.
yeah,
So yeah, so I don't know what age it was, but me and a bunch of friends, we used to listen to music that nobody else listened to,
yeah,
and we used to drink scotch and uh, smoke cigars. And one day we were talking about it, and we're like, well, let's try it. So we all bought pipes, and we smoked pipes for a while. Didn't last long for me. It was just too it was too weird. So but yeah, but we kept going with the listening to the esoteric music and smoking
yeah.
cigars and drinking scotch. For that lasted a few years anyway.
Well, I have to admit, there's nothing better than a smell of a really good cigar, and I actually even like the smell of a pipe, but a good
Yeah.
smelling cigar.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I don't know,
You guys know me to enjoy a stogie or two in the summers when I go camping, so I
Yeah.
quite like it.
Well, I used to golf a lot, when I was young, and that was the deal back then. You golf,
Yeah.
have a cigar, and
Have a cigar?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and I tell you what, used to get in technical sales, we used to take a bunch of engineers out and all type of jazz, and then dollars weren't an issue because the company was covering it, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, you'd have $27 Davidoffs,
Yeah.
back in 19 whatever it was. That's a lot of money, man. But I mean, that Davidoff would take you through pretty much the 18 holes. I mean, it was like, all 11 inches long, right? So it'll take you through the whole 18 holes almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the fun days.
No, for sure. I like Marvin's comment. He says, my best instant gratification is when someone speeds by me and either gets pulled over or spins out, safe but off the road.
Gone.
And
So your instant gratification is somebody else's misfortune, Marvin. Is that what you're telling us, dude?
I think that's what
I would hazard to say that most Formula One people agree with you, Marv.
Hey, I love Formula One. Yeah, Robert makes a good point too. When McDonald's came out, all of a sudden you had this, fast food. You go there, your dinner's ready in a couple minutes, kind of thing. And not that there wasn't fast food in the 50s and 60s, but McDonald's was kind of the one that really jumped in. And the old adage is you always got change, right? Doesn't happen now, but that was the old thing way back, right? You go to McDonald's, you get change.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have tap. Talk about instant gratification, right?
Yeah, tap and that money's right out of your account, just like that.
Boom. That's McDonald's not having any patience. They want their money right now.
Right now.
And that is another form of
You may
instant
not get the second cheeseburger that you ordered, but at least they got their money.
Yeah,
that's right.
But you're right, Cliff. That's another form of it, right? Because when they came with the bank card, came out with the ability to tap. No, how many? I'd like to know how many people on here carries cash anymore. You guys ever carry cash?
Well, I do. I do, but just kind of an emergency thing, right?
Yeah.
So I generally have, on average, hey thieves, if you're listening, I generally have around $40 on me. Not, I mean,
hey, you got a quarter for the payphone too, Cliff?
Yeah. But on average, that comes from way back when, right? When I was younger and didn't have a vehicle and I'd go partying, I used to take $40. Well, back then it was $20 and I'd stick it in my sock or in my shoe or whatever. And that was my sort of safety cab fare home.
Right.
And that kind of tradition kind of stuck. So up to date, even right now, I don't have my wallet on me. Hang on. Yeah. I bet you, I don't know. Because I put it like in a not in the normal place.
Well, he's giving us all his secrets.
Yeah, like it. Look, check it out. I don't know if you can see this. Look.
Oh, yeah.
Inside here, $20. See?
There you go. So you got some cash.
Yeah. So that's a holdover. That's a holdover from way back when. So, and then also on top of that, when I was in technical sales, even though I had really good cell phones back then, had a XJ. I don't know if you guys know what an XJ is. Had an XJ and an Aurora, and a handheld. Still, if you get stuck in the middle of nowhere, it's always nice to have a few bucks to give somebody who pulls you out of the ditch or something like that, right? It's always nice, right? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yeah. I don't very rarely carry cash now. at all. Obviously, back I used to always have cash, and you make the joke about the quarter back in the business when you're in outside sales. Yeah, you had to have that because you had to find the payphones to
Dude, you
make
had
the
to
call.
have it, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no choice.
And not only in sales, I was a service tech,
Yeah.
right? But same thing. You used to go and you'd have to phone the office to get your next call or the next, handful of calls.
Yeah.
Same thing. Find a telephone and slam that quarter in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ram it through. William says he carries about $60.
Oh, there you go.
At all times, William. So you at all times make a point of having $60 in your wallet at all times. That's my question.
Okay, we're waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yeah,
William.
we're just waiting there, William.
I don't.
I guess-
Robert. I'm not a. I don't carry cash either. I'm not a. I'm not in the physical format at all.
Yeah, I guess it's not a bad idea to have even as a backup. I guess if for some reason the card you had with you failed or whatever, and you're in a store and
Yeah.
you wanted to cover it. But Laura says she keeps $2. Well,
yeah, and the other thing, I like to keep a bit of money on me as well. It can really be a help to somebody, right? I mean, if somebody's stranded, or if you want to give a couple of bucks to a homeless dude because you feel that urge at that moment, you can't exactly. Hey, do you have a debit machine? I can tap if you like. They don't go around carrying debit machines, so I always like to have some dollars on me for times like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is true as well. Other things I guess you could look at as instant gratification, which we didn't have way back. And I'm jumping into a topic we talk a lot about in this show, but that's music. Either you heard music on the radio or you had to go buy the album, to hear that artist or hear, more of the songs that they might have put on a new album release or whatever. Whereas nowadays you can just go on the internet and find the latest song within seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you a story about instant gratification gone wrong. When I left the old country, I only brought albums. My whole suitcase was full of albums, but one 45 that I had bought back there was the song Daniel by Elton John. And on the back of Daniel was a song called Skyline Pigeon. Well, while everybody was listening to A-side, typical B-side, Mr. B-side Cliff here, fell in love with this song on the B-side of this little 45 record called Skyline Pigeon. But I left that back there. And then when I came to Canada, one of the first things I looked for was this 45 with Daniel. So I run to the store when I had enough money, and then I went and bought the 45, ran home, flipped it over, put it on the deck, and lo and behold, not Skyline Pigeon. I think it was Benny and the Jets or something, because the North American release was different than the Asian and the English release.
Wow.
So, and then I couldn't find Skyline Pigeon. I couldn't find it for a decade. It just did not exist, right? Until finally, Elton John released a double album. One side recorded in Madison Square Garden, and the other side recorded in Albert Hall in England. And lo and behold, he opens one of the sides with Skyline Pigeon. So it took me 10 years to find this song.
Yeah.
And I finally found it. So that was kind of interesting. So there you go. There's a story about very much delayed gratification.
Yeah, no, for sure. A 10-year wait.
That's right.
And
Paul, you were mentioning microwave being a big thing kind of in your.
The first thing I remember in terms of, I guess the instant gratification in terms of household and in terms of, growing up and making things a convenience coming into my house, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just laughing at Jeremy. He says, "Is it real charity though, Cliff, if there's no film crew?" Hey, that's so true. We were talking about that last time I saw Jeremy. It's these people that want to do something good. They'll go give some homeless guy on Jasper Avenue $2 and they'll make a whole Facebook production about it. Right? So yeah, not my idea of interesting people, put it that way.
And there's more instant gratification. Now, you being a photographer, Cliff, could probably relate to this.
Oh yeah.
What else that we shot with film?
Oh my God. Hey, talk about
you had to wait for it to get developed. Now I did also
Develop.
study photography, so I spent time in the dark room and getting the
Yeah,
film out and developing and doing the whole process. But there's no instant gratification. You got to wait,
dude,
and
it was
hopefully
even
every
worse
shot
for me. It was even worse for me because I was always effing broke, right? So I'd
Fuck.
spend money and buy the reels, go use them up, and then don't have enough money to develop them. So then I'd wait and have to be able to save up the dollars and then take it to the developers and get
Yeah.
it developed. It was crazy. Yeah. And then what happens? Then what happens, right? I mean, not telling tales or nothing. You know, I'm a good photographer now, but back then, you know, you get 24 pictures developed. You get them home and you spend all this money on it and you have 3 good ones.
I was going to say only 3 turned out.
I know, right? I remember those days, man. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, as compared
Yeah.
to now, where your smartphone, your
Yeah.
iPhone, or your
Yeah. Or
Android
if you got a
device.
beautiful camera, I mean, just chimp the back and make sure you got a good exposure before you or delete it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's just the way it is. Oh man, I remember
yeah,
those days. Yeah, 36 roll of film, run to the drugstore, pay the money, get it back, and there's like, look, there's 4 images.
yeah. That's all there was that worked out.
Oh man.
And you
Yeah.
like you said, you spent so much time setting up what you thought were good
Was
shots,
exactly, yeah,
and
exactly.
then it happens. And it's the same with film and video. I used to shoot a lot with buddies on 8 millimeter.
On 8
Uh,
mil, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you get the film all shot. You'd shoot your short films, but of course, then have to send it off for processing.
For processing,
You
yeah.
you would wait sometimes 2 weeks before you'd even get it back, before you'd even see if it turned out.
If it
So
turned out.
you could shoot 3 or 4, rolls of 8 millimeter film and get back, like you just said, and 2 of the rolls were good, but the
Well,
other 2 rolls
yeah.
were really crappy. Either the sound was bad or the lighting was bad, and then you go,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I got that." It's 2 weeks later and you got to reshoot.
And you're gonna reshoot. I remember, I remember one time I have this beautiful Pentax film camera. I should dig it out again sometime. I bought it used, and when I bought it used, it was like 15 years old. And I bought this 30 years ago, but it's an Pentax ME Super, beautiful camera. But I remember after a very frustrating few developments, getting 2 and 3 and 4 exposures out of 24 and 36. I thought to myself, Cliff, what you need is a good light meter because obviously, you don't have the right tools, right? And I
Right.
remember calling New York. I can't remember what store it was now. For all I know, it was B&H. I know they've been around forever, but I called them because I was trying to find a good light meter, thinking, I should buy a light meter. And I remember, I don't remember the details, but I remember them quoting me US dollars of what a light meter would cost. And I'm like, yep, nope, next life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then digital cameras come along. You gotta like that.
Oh, for sure. Robert makes a good point too when they came out with 1-hour photo studios. So remember you
Yeah.
could take the film in
That's
and
true.
get it done in an hour and get
Yeah.
the prints.
Hey, now you can do it yourself. Just walk into any Costco or Walmart and do it right there at the machine.
Yeah, you do it right at the machine and you've got prints right away.
Hi, Lori.
Uh,
Lori says the waiting is the hardest part, but I think you can really appreciate things you wait for. Anticipation is the best part. Well, anticipation in itself is a heightened emotion, right? So
Yeah. Jeremy had a question here. I just scrolled back here that interesting question. We have all these examples of instant gratification or delayed gratification. Here's my question. Is there any inherent virtue in delaying gratification?
that's a great question, Jeremy, and it's a question that's worth asking because we seem to have many of these quote unquote virtuous things that we strive for still in society today without really knowing if it actually really carries any virtue or not. So I don't know, Jeremy. Delayed gratification could be actually a detriment. I mean, for every moment we don't have something that we desire or want or could use or could help us grow or help us improve or help us help somebody else, etc., etc., etc. Every moment takes away from a moment that pleasure could have been brought if we weren't waiting for this delayed gratification, right? And then of course life is short, so extrapolate from that
That's
what I
what I
mean.
was thinking.
Extrapolate from that what I mean. So in terms of that, I don't know that there's virtue. I think the only virtue is being able to perhaps cultivate patience within yourself. But other than that, I don't necessarily think there is virtue to it. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what Jeremy has to say. And I agree. There are times when I don't mind waiting for something because, as Lori's kind of alluded to, you might appreciate it more. But there are times I'm like everybody else. I want it yesterday.
Yeah.
And with the way things move and the way technology works nowadays, if there's something that I'm looking for that, I feel I need or want, like, I want it now. I don't want to wait for 3 weeks to get whatever that might be. So I'm kind of on both sides of the fence, right?
And
Yeah.
let's face it, right? We wouldn't be in any way in debt as an individual or as a country if it wasn't for that need for instant gratification. I mean, that's what the finance industry's capitalized on. They capitalized on our impatience
Yeah.
and our intolerance for delayed gratification. I mean, that's why you can go to the brick and buy a sofa and don't pay for 15 months.
Yeah.
Because you want that sofa now, you don't want to wait for it, right? So yeah,
Right.
I mean, there's something to be said about it in terms of, is there a virtue in it? And that's a very good question, because there may be in some instances. I mean, as I said, Jeremy, it might teach you patience, which of course that is a virtue, right? Any kind of lesson in terms of that is a virtue, but the actual receiving of something, of a product or something, I don't know that there's necessarily a virtue in delaying it if you don't have to. If it costs you, then it's different. But if it doesn't cost you,
the virtue that I find, you guys, the virtue that I find is not necessarily in waiting for things. It's waiting for experiences. That's where the virtue comes from. And case in point,
how's the waiting for the experience the virtue?
Well, I'll give you an example. So Christmas is coming. And quite frankly, I can't wait to see my kids' faces, but I can wait to see my kids' faces, quite frankly, because then it's over. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, but Podlie, the flip side to that is,
so
if you give it to them now, it's not a Christmas present.
No, well,
so it's not like you're delaying gratification. You're waiting for an event.
An event, yeah, and it's just you want it to come, and and yet you just kind of
but you get my point though. That's not delayed.
It's like my daughter's 16th birthday, right?
No, but that's not delayed gratification. That's waiting for an event. What we're talking about is delayed gratification in things that don't have necessarily a purpose to wait.
No, and I understand that, but I mean, and I'm well aware that Christmas is the 24th and the 25th, and it is, you got to wait for it anyways because it's a date and whatever. But I mean, I'm talking about the lead up, right? The lead up to it is, once it's over, it's over. And I got to tell you, like, I really enjoy shopping for my kids, and I really, I kind of don't want it to be over, every year. So that's what I mean by kind of delayed gratification, and just kind of holding off, not because you've got so much to do, but just because I just really enjoy the process. I really enjoy the process of planning it and making it my best, the best for my kids and this, that, and the other thing. And after it's done, well, it's done.
And Jeremy makes another good point, as you kind of mentioned as well, Cliff, as instant gratification is also something that can be detrimental to people. Like you said, if you can go to the brick because you want that particular couch like right now, but you can't afford it, but you can put it over payments of how many years or whatever the case might be, with an interest rate which is probably pretty high in those applications. So you're putting yourself into some pretty heavy debt to get that instant gratification. And just like Leslie Ann says, new vehicle prices are not advertised. The financing details and the monthly payment is advertised instead.
Yeah, I know. Boy, that drives me insane.
Yeah. So again, you're thinking that's that instant gratification. I'm getting this brand new vehicle, but in reality, how much is it setting you back out of the bank account?
And for how many years? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Marvin says the corporations also capitalize by making a crappy product that breaks or needs upgrading, and you still want to replace it.
Yep, you got that right.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's not like the old days. Even in the electronics business and technology business, most stuff will last you, if you're lucky, 5 years, and it's not worth repairing. There's not even a lot of repair depots around anymore, because it's just replace it.
Yeah.
So. I didn't even notice. Look at the time there, Cliff.
Well. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the middle of the podcast, and almost the middle of December. Damn it!
Wow. Yeah.
And Leslie Ann says the opposite could be the opposite, or could be complementary, is procrastination. We should chat
Mhm.
about that sometime too. Leslie,
Sure.
that's a very good idea. Procrastination has so many different facets, both good and bad. It would be an interesting discussion, you guys.
Definitely an interesting
Let's do it
discussion.
another time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely an interesting discussion for sure. Um, so yeah, again, I think there's all types of instant gratification that's good, instant gratification that's bad, that, as we've just talked about, that can put you in major debt and get you in financial trouble. Especially, I feel bad, as Leslie Ann, talks about cars, for the younger generation that decides they're going to go in and buy a car or buy that first car,
Mhm.
getting roped into some sort of thing. Oh, this is great. I'm getting this great, 2022 car, whatever it is. And oh, this sales guy is giving me such a great deal and such great financing on it, and I'm going to drive this thing home today, and until you
Right.
realize 2 days later and look at what your payments are and what the interest rate is and how
And for
long you're
how
going to be
long?
paying for it,
For
Yeah.
how long?
and
Yeah.
you're going, oh,
Yeah.
now I don't know if I can even afford it.
Yeah.
I'm just blowing my bank account.
Yeah.
And these salespeople, I'll never forget the one time I was talking to a sales guy, just outside, as a matter of fact, the Schwab dealership. Um, uh, I was walking. Long story. Anyway, he's out there and he was having a smoke, and I was chatting with him, and we're talking away. And he was talking about, we got around to financing. He was talking about the 7-year plan of how he just put this person into a 7-year deal for this vehicle. And he was laughing, and he called it the never, never. They call it the never, never plan, meaning
Hmm.
that you never own that vehicle, because by the time the 7 years comes up,
You
these
need a new
vehicles are
vehicle.
right. These
Yeah.
vehicles are useless. They're built in obsolescence,
Mm.
that they're useless by the time the 7 years is up. So you never own it. You have to buy another one. So he called it the never never plan. And he thought it was the funniest thing on the planet. Right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking, yeah, you just screwed this poor person without telling them, giving them all the information that they need to make a valid decision. Right.
Decision. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing with that too is they will push that because they make more profit.
They make more dollars out of it. That's right.
They
Yeah.
make more dollars going that route. So again, the person who's buying, if they're not, knowledgeable about that, and they
Yeah.
get caught in the whole instant gratification thing, they're so excited they're getting this brand new shiny vehicle that they're going to drive off the lot that day, not realizing that they just got put into the worst financial plan you can get, even though they think in their mind
That's
is
right.
good. Give them 48 hours, and once they realize what they've done.
That's right.
Well, give them their first payment date. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. Too bad. Too bad.
yeah, as Jeremy says, after making all these payments, you're the proud owner of something less than a third of the value of what you paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that. Yeah. If that.
Yeah.
And Robert says there's a 120-month financing plan for recreational toys. Holy Joseph, Batman.
Wow.
Are you serious? 10 years on a piece of machinery that is meant to be abused. Yeah, so you'll be paying for it after the machine itself is in the
The
ground.
machine's dead. Yeah, machine's
Like,
dead.
how
You're
much
still
fun
paying
is
for it.
that?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
your
exactly right.
snowmobile is dead for 5 years and you're still paying for it. I mean, that's crazy. And Lori says instant gratification comes from seeing smiles on the people's faces when you offer even the smallest of things, like good company. Yeah, good call, Lori.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
lack of that these days, good company. I mean,
Yeah. And there, she also, I think, made a comment too of good instant gratification is, if you seeing somebody smile, or you've done something that makes somebody smile or feel better about themselves, or
yeah,
you compliment them on something, maybe they've never had a compliment in forever, or Cliff, like you said, maybe giving that homeless person $10 or whatever to go
mhm,
buy themselves lunch.
yeah,
There's that instant gratification that makes you feel good inside, because you've helped somebody within that moment, and you're
right.
making them feel good, for even if it's only for half an hour or whatever.
That's right.
You've done something that has helped them,
Yeah, and the goodness comes back to you. It's really an interesting concept, right? I've always thought about that as a very interesting concept, because you can have instant gratification by spending money and buying something for yourself, or you could have instant gratification by spending money and giving it to somebody else, and having the gratification of knowing you've done something good, right? For the right people, obviously.
yeah, yeah. So, um, just trying to scroll back here on some of these. I'm not going to read them all, but Marvin said, I was one of the best students. I was one of the bad students with my student loan. I had a lawyer show me how to get rid of it because I was in debt. Got rid of my student loan in a couple of days. Bad credit was only a few years. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't think student loans. I didn't think you could get out from under student loans.
Yeah, it depends how you work. When I went to college, they had a particular program that because I finished with honors, they actually paid off a part of my student loan.
Part of the student loan,
Wow,
right?
that's nice. Yeah.
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 So part of it is bursary if you get part of his grant or bursary if you get certain
Yes.
grades, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe they do that program anymore, but at that point they were, which was nice. So
Cool.
Yeah, Jeremy, this is so important. Jeremy says, I wish so hard that high school actually taught you how money really worked, how interest and depreciating values work, how debt and credit ratings work. 100%, man. Like when I was in high school, we had a class called CALM, CALM, Career and Life Management. And tip of the iceberg, if that, in terms of money management and stuff like that. I agree, Jeremy, 100%. And I think that's completely wanton in high schools nowadays, or even junior high schools, for quite frankly. I think it absolutely should be part of the curriculum.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely should be.
Robert says the first high risk lender I heard doing a 120-month plan was at 24.9. Wow.
Freaking hell.
Wow. That's scary.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And he says the client was happy that they got him on a machine. Oh my God.
See, that's the thing. They get the client so hyped that's that instant gratification for that first little bit. The client's got the shiny brand new machine. 48 hours later realizes what his payments are going to be. And like you said, Cliff, when the machine's in the ground and he's still paying for it, I don't think he's going to be smiling and happy at that point.
Yeah, man, that's crazy though, right? Because you get some of these machines. I mean, I know, Rob's talking about these side by side and skidoos and all that type of jazz. I mean, really, you screw this thing up and whatever, you abuse it and blah blah blah. It's done in 3 years, and then what? You're paying for it for the next 5. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Paying for something that doesn't work.
Yeah, I'd rather do without at that point. I mean, I tell you, yeah. And then what I don't understand, like a lot of these things, like these days, I don't fully understand why people are not moved more towards the used market on some of these things, right? I mean, I bought two motorcycles, and both of them I've bought used, and I've saved myself a considerable amount of money. And the fact of the matter is, if tomorrow I decided that I'm not going to ride, I'm quite comfortable saying that, hey, that was the amount of money that I spent was worth what I got out of it, was worth the experience.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And I'm okay, right? But I mean, if I decided to get out now and I still had, 7 years of payments left to go, I don't think I'd be that happy, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And the nice thing, really, what have you got? Insurance payments, and once you drop the bike, and
those are relatively cheap, right?
Yeah,
relatively.
And once you decide not to ride anymore, so you're not stuck, right? You're not
stuck, right? And it's a used vehicle. If it's okay, you can get some of your money back by selling it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're buying a new vehicle, given the depreciation right away. Like if you're not gonna, the bottom line is if you're not going to use it for the whole 5 years or however long you're going to use the vehicle for, then you're going to lose money on it. That bottom line, right?
Yeah, big time. I like what Leslie Ann says. I often make a lot of plans and schedule my chores so that I know what's not going to get done when friends or family invite me to do something fun. So I give up rather quickly on my plan, and when something fun comes, when something fun comes up. Is this instant gratification? Probably, because my chores never end.
Yep, true, Leslie. And I would say that's instant gratification. I think that's putting instant gratification over delayed gratification. But if the chores never end and you delay gratification until the chores are finished, well, guess what? Then you'd never have any fun with people, right? So in terms of that, there's no virtue in that delayed gratification as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's looking at your priorities. Do I want to have fun with the family and friends because they've invited me, or am I going to stay and do my chores or do them later?
There you go.
There's also procrastination maybe involved in there because maybe you didn't want to do that chore. So
that's right. That's right. And procrastination is again, right, a great opposite to instant gratification in so many ways, right? Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that sometime.
Yeah, we'll definitely
I talk about it now, but I wouldn't want to instantly gratify anybody.
Yeah, it's not very gratifying, Cliff.
It's not very gratifying.
What's that comment Robert has? You want to read that one, Paul?
They try to roll these machines up in another loan. Credit kiting is illegal in Canada, but rolling your automotive or rec toy loans isn't at nearly the same or higher interest rates. It's mind-blowing, but people get their instant gratification.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin says he rode a 1987 1100 Virago. You know what, Marvin? That's a nice bike. I take back all the bad things I've ever said about you. I mean, you can't be a bad dude if you rode a 1987 1100 Virago, my friend. But he says he bought a Virago, rode it for 3 years, and sold it for more than he paid for it. Well,
That's good.
That's a
There's
hell
some
of a deal, Marvin.
gratification.
Yeah, you must be a good used vehicle salesperson then. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, very well. So for you, Cliff, when you started looking for motorcycles, when you made the decision to ride, I know you've told us the story that, I think you bought it from a gentleman, your first bike from a gentleman in Grand Prairie or whatever the case.
Just north of Grand Prairie. Yeah.
But what was your mindset on that? Did you think that, oh, I want a bike, I want to start riding, I want to do this like right now? Or did you want that instant gratification, or you took the time to really?
Well, I must admit, I kind of wanted it, but I couldn't anyway. And I knew I would have to go through a bunch of steps. I actually started looking in November of the 1 year, right?
Mhm.
For some odd reason, some little switch went off in my head, said that you should ride a bike.
Right.
And don't ask me. And then, so then I started looking at a lot of YouTube videos and learning what I needed to learn, but I couldn't take the course till April. So I booked the course for April 27th. But then I went looking for a bike. So I was doing a lot of research.
Right.
I was in a big hurry, even though it was winter. I wasn't in a big hurry, partly because I thought if I wait till spring, that if there are any good bikes out there for sale, they'll get bought pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
Who the hell is going to go looking at a bike in January? Only this guy, right? So when I found
makes sense.
when I found the spec that I wanted, when I discovered the actual model and everything that I wanted, then all of a sudden, man, I was crazy. I was like all over Kijiji, and then when I found it and I called the guy, then I called my cousin. I was like, "Hey, can we go up?" He says, "Yeah, well, what's your hurry?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, "No, we gotta go up this weekend." so in terms of getting the bike, getting my paws on the bike, I think I was quite. I think I was quite after that instant gratification of getting it. But once I got it, then I realized I couldn't ride it, and I had it tucked away in his garage, waiting till April for my course or whatever. It was fine. Once I got the bike, it was fine. I mean, I was excited. I couldn't wait to get on the bloody thing and ride. Well, I didn't know how to ride. I couldn't wait to actually get on a bike and learn. But it wasn't like that instant gratification thing. It was to get the bike. Once I got it, brought it home, put it in the garage. It was mine. I did the right spec. I knew it was the right bike for me, all type of stuff. And then all of a sudden, then I was calm. then I just, kind of drum the fingers waiting for April to come along, right? So,
right.
Yeah, but it was a fun experience.
And you bought a bike more for touring as well, right?
So this year I bought a bike. Yeah, this year, this is my third year or fourth year, whatever it was. So I was comfortable learning how to take a passenger now. And my wife said that she wanted to be a passenger. At least she wanted to try it. So I bought myself a nice mid-level cruiser. I'm a small man, right? So a mid-level cruiser that both of us could go on. Same thing. I bought it used. It's a 2014 bike. Beautiful shape, beautiful condition. And I bought it used. And man, oh man, I tell you, we rode a lot. We put on, between my wife and I think we both, like with using doubling, we probably put on about 3,000 kilometers. And by myself, I did a trip to BC. Right. With a gentleman friend of mine. And so I put on probably in total about 6,000 kilometers, which is a lot of kilometers on a motorcycle, right? For a guy, like for a working person. So I bought it used, paid cash for it, saved up. I started saving up last year because I knew I wanted a bike. So I hadn't saved all of it, but I supplemented it when I found the bike. But I had saved up some money, and then I supplemented the savings and bought the bike. And so now I have two. I mean, I don't need two. I might end up selling one, but I love my Magnum, my first bike. I love that bike. But it's not good enough for two people. So I do need this other bike for two people, right? So
no, for sure. So I saw another comment here, and I got to scroll back that Marvin made. He said, on another note, a used Tesla usually now goes for more than a new one because you don't have to wait 12 to 24 months for the ordered Tesla.
Yeah, that's right. So there, some people riding Teslas and wanting to get rid of them and taking advantage of people's need for instant gratification, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. The Tesla Semi unloaded does 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds.
It's crazy, man. That thing is amazing vehicle.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So, and now we've got guys telling us about their bikes here, Cliff.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. William says his first bike was a Yamaha MX 100. Nice bike, man. And then an IT 175. Last was a board bike Honda X 350. Oh, XR 350. Is that a two-stroke? William, must be a two-stroke. Anyway, yeah, nice bikes. So do you still ride, William? Good question. Any other riders on here? I'm waiting.
Everybody's quiet.
Everybody's quiet.
What about you, Paul? Has there been something that no, not for your kids, but for yourself, where you've gone, I got to get this. I need it like right now.
No, not lately. I mean, if I had my way, I'd have my electric guitar right now, but it's on back order. But
what are you getting?
You know what? I don't remember. Do you want to know why I don't remember? Because I ordered it in April.
Oh.
Honestly, quite frankly, and it's been back ordered that long. So, it's just an introductory electric guitar. I've got an acoustic. I don't have an electric yet. So, I'm
cool.
kind of excited about it. It was initially supposed to come in August of last year, of this year. Then it was back into September. Then it's supposed to be December, and now it's January. So I don't even know what the hell I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's tough right now with the supply chain to have instant gratification if you're waiting for certain
Well,
things.
that's right?
It could be 6 months from the time you order. So,
dude, it's crazy. Why did you go used, Podlie?
Oh, because it's my friend's music store, and you know,
cool.
I'm exclusive to them, so.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just curious. I'm always curious about that. So.
Yep, I'm exclusive to them. So. Yeah, and I mean, for all intents and purposes, you guys, I mean, I can wait, right? I've got my acoustic, so, but it will be really damn nice when I get this thing. So.
Nice. Cool. What? And did you get an app too then?
No, not yet. I got to get an app yet. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I got to get an app yet.
Yeah. So. Robert says, I wish I rode. My wrist would scare me because it's as quick to move as my foot to the floor.
Yeah, you got that right, Robert. I'm a speed demon of old. Trust me. I've had my motorcycle up to 185 kilometers an hour and 1 kilometer above that. And I know that for a fact because I got it up to 185 and I juiced it just a little bit more. And I had it at 186. And I'll tell you what, at 186 kilometers an hour, you run out of highway really, really quickly if you're not on the number 1 or something like that. All right. Yeah. I was on highway 14.
Yes.
Headed south. And before you get to the major curve, yeah, it doesn't take long from Yellowhead. It doesn't take long from Yellowhead. Now, and that's the second fastest I've ever been in a vehicle. The first fastest was in my Dodge Avenger, and I got it up to just shy of 240. So it was actually 220, 230, somewhere around there. And but then I had the motorcycle up to 185, and like I said, juiced a little bit more, and that was on my Magna 500. So let me tell you something: you're freaking flying, man.
So is there some gratification in that?
Definitely. And I tell you what, it's exhilarating and scares the living shit right out of you.
I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, and I tell you, I was screaming into my. I got a full face helmet, and when I got there and I got a 185, and I just give it a little bit more to 186. I tell you, I just literally that. You know the Star Wars scream when they knock that reactor out. That's kind of what it was like. and then it kind of curdles a little bit when you realize that, oh my God, I need to stop this thing. So yeah, good fun though.
And you had hair then.
It's all gone now. It's like,
and then he brought it to 186 miles an hour.
Yeah. Even though he had that helmet on.
That's right. Yeah. I tell you what, though, that motorcycle at that speed, remarkable. It's really quite remarkable what it feels like. It's amazing, actually. So.
Mm-hmm.
For legal purpose. For legal purposes, Cliff, you're joking.
I'm joking. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, you didn't really do that.
And that was my first year. That was my first year riding.
Wow.
I was about probably, I don't know, late September. So I'd only been riding for that season.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was too good. It was awesome. I'm a bit of a speed demon anyway, but I think that was a little bit over much.
You just decided to go for it and see what would happen.
Yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
How smooth was it? Like
It's
the
very
bike
smooth.
held
That
up-
bike,
held up well?
that's the remarkable thing about that bike.
Right.
It's such an amazing motorcycle. It's only a
100.
500. Most other bikes, I tell you what, most cruisers, like an actual big Harley cruiser, the mirrors will be vibrating so much you won't even be able to see. Right. And here's this little bike. It's a V4 500, and I'm doing 185. And I'm telling you something, you can still see the mirrors. You can still use the mirrors. It's an amazing bike.
Would you now that you've done 186, are you going to push it to 190?
Do you know what, dude? I'd like to. I got new tires on the bike season before last. I just need to tune the bike up a little bit. But I would. I'd like to see it. My Triumph doesn't get there. My Triumph can't get there, and my Triumph's a 900, but it's not designed for that top end, right?
Right.
My Honda Magna tops out at 220. So for a 500, tops out at 220. So I have no doubt that it can get there. I'm never going to get there. Not a chance. not on these roads anyway. Maybe on the Autobahn, but never on these roads.
Right.
I mean, you hit a 1 millimeter pebble at that speed.
You're done.
Screwed, right?
You're done.
Screwed. So,
you're done.
And there's nothing left of you. It's not like there'll be anything left of you for anybody to scrape up.
You're done.
Yeah, there'd be multiple pieces all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it would
So
be an exhilarating way to go, though.
So is that Honda like a 1 down 6 up, or what is a?
It is. Yeah. So, and it's really amazing actually because the overdrive, which is the 6, once you get past 7,000, 8,000 RPM, it pulls like mad. Like it's really awesome. You don't expect it from a 500. You just don't. But Honda is so amazing, right? Honda, they made a V65. This is boring for people. I'm sorry. They made a V65 in '83, which was the fastest production bike ever. It's the same, not ever in that area, in that time frame. It's the same weight as my 500, except it had 120 horsepower.
Yeah.
That thing, that was just like a rocket. Like, I mean, you punch the throttle and you're just deaf and gone, right?
Yeah,
good fun.
Cliff becomes the Flash.
Oh yeah, the Flash.
Yeah.
Lori says, "How fast was your first car going, Cliff, when you Domino the other day?" Lori, that's a story for another day. Lori loves that story. I told her that story one time. And Marvin says is 76 Camaro. Hey, Lori had a beautiful Camaro. Her favorite vehicle, as a matter of fact. Marvin says, Lori's Camaro, was that an 81, Lori? I need to know. Let us know, will you? And Marvin says he had a 76 Camaro installed. What is that? Ram Air and dual Edelbrock. Don't know what that is. Trump on the gas and open all 8 barrels, and I swear you can see the gas gauge go down with every burst. Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Robert says, I bet the only thing it didn't pass was a gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lori says 71 Camaro Z28. Yeah. Oh man, my favorite Camaro is still a 68. If I were to be able to afford a classic Camaro right now, it'd be a 68. A 68 Camaro or a 63 Vet, one of the two.
Oh, see, and I'm a 65, 66 Vet guy.
Oh yeah.
So Cliff, now that Leslie Ann has ridden with you as a passenger, has she had any inklings of wanting to ride her own bike?
Not so far. She says she really enjoys, and surprisingly, she wasn't necessarily thinking that she would, but surprisingly just loves riding on the back and really enjoys the freedom and the zen, right? Because nobody's talking to you. I don't have music in my ears, nothing. We don't have communication via Bluetooth, nothing, right? So even though we're together, we're still in our own little world, and it's totally zen, right? Because you can fly down the highway 120. I'm pretty good at keeping that wrist at 120. And I tell you what, you can go for an hour. You're not saying anything to each other. you're just paying attention to the road, and it's very, very zen. It's a really cool experience, right?
Mm.
And then you get off the bike, stop for coffee, and then you because you've been sitting there not talking to each other for 2 hours, right? So then you get at the coffee and you're like, and then hey, put the helmet back on, get back on the bike, and back to zen again, right? So it's a really interesting experience.
The instant gratification of that quick chat and coffee,
and boom, you're back on again, right?
and then you're back on.
Yeah. And it's so funny, right? I'll be in the pilot seat, and you know, see a nice highway, something like that, and I'll just get Leslie's attention and go like this, right? Like wave like a fish or whatever, and then I'll just start weaving on the highway, like wee, and it's so much fun though, right? You put your hands out this way. Well, I don't. She does. Put the hand out this way, you know, and you're like, it's. I don't know. There's something really zen about it. It's really cool, actually. So, wow. I think everybody should ride a motorcycle at least once in their life, or at least be a passenger.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Like I said, I had some interest, and we'll see. I haven't jumped at it yet. Maybe in the spring.
Maybe in the future. A trike is in your future, Bill.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have a look at that. So we're down to like 3.5 minutes left here already tonight.
Right. Well, I tell you what, it's a good time to tell you all that we appreciate you being here. Must Listen Monday. I mean, 102 episodes, quite awesome. Some of you have been here all along. Some of you, like Marvin, some of you have binge watched and gone back, like Laura. And some of you are spuriously here. We appreciate you guys, every last one of you coming and showing up on a Monday. It's always fun to have the interaction. And if you're listening to us live, that's awesome. Please share the podcast if you like it. If you don't like it, share it anyway. All right. And if you're not listening to it live and you're going to listen to it later, well, then, Mr. Bill.
Everywhere you get your podcasts, you can grab it off iHeartRadio, etc., and re-listen to it. And maybe there's a part you missed and you want to listen to it again. Or like Cliff said, you can go back, watch it on Facebook and or YouTube, because we're streaming live to YouTube now as well. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that, and get your friends to like our Facebook page and all that fun kind of stuff.
And lastly, if you're watching it on YouTube, on Facebook later, for some reason you didn't catch it, or watching it with a friend, make sure you turn on the comments, real-time comments, because that way you can see the comments that fly by as the conversation goes by. Yeah.
And like Cliff said, introduce some friends to it. Get them to hang out for us, even if it's for 10, 15 minutes, and just get a taste of the Podlie podcast. Because when you watch the Podlie podcast, within 10 to 15 minutes, the topic could change 6 times.
That's right. We start with a topic, but we seldom ever stay on it. But yeah.
We did pretty good tonight, though.
Yeah, relatively okay. Now, it was kind of a thread that went through the conversation, which is okay.
Yeah, we kind of got on the motorcycles, but still kind of had, a instant gratification feel in there. And
that's right.
So we sort of hung on. And Paul, you still awake?
Yes, I'm waiting for my instant gratification of Antiques Roadshow.
There we go. Well, thanks for showing up, you guys. Lori, nice to see you after a long time. Robert, all you guys, thanks very much for showing up. Appreciate you coming.
Yeah, everybody.
Have a great week.
We will be back next week with the official 103 episode.
Stay happy.
See you all then.